say to me, oh, I don't even listen to one station, or I don't watch TV. But what I'm saying to you is, I think these skills are reasonably easily learned. They need to be practiced. And so, but what you do need to do is you need to sort of make a media hour each week where you maybe listen to a different radio station, read a different newspaper, say go into Paper Plus or the library and have a look at different magazines and just try and sort of familiarise yourself with all the options out there. Because, I mean, I've just got folders and folders of things like this at home, you know, with people just like you who've had no contact with the media, you know, deciding that they would capitalise on those opportunities. And I mean, look, another reassurance to you is that not every story is sort of, you know, so fascinating and different. And I've got some examples in here, you know, the recession obviously, I mean, that's, you know, a big thing. Now, look at this. I mean, this is a story I cut out of a South Island paper. Cafe cooks up a recession beater. Well, I mean, lots of cafes are trying to beat the recession, aren't they? I mean, they all want business. So what this cafe did, they traded on the area they were in. This was actually in central Otago. So they reinvented, probably artistic license, the miner's pie. And they decided that they would name a different pie for every day of the week, with a bit of a quirky sort of explanation. And I'll read this out, because look, they were smart enough, and they got a great big story in the paper. So the cafe produces the venison and red wine pie. Now they've called that the booze and Bambi. And savoury chicken, which is the Yardbird Deluxe. The fish pie, we found Nemo, and the vegetarian pie, the green and mean. So basically they put a great big billboard outside saying, you know, try our new miner's pie, and they put all those names and, you know, ring the media and say, look, this is what we're doing, you know, we want to keep the customers coming in the door. And the media turns up and follows it. Yeah. What's it, sorry?
We got a free pie too.
Oh, probably they did. They sound actually really tasty. It's true. I'll read it out. The pies have 2 layers of pastry in them. A pastry style to the traditional pie, and they are chock full of ingredients. So this journalist has given them, they've written their marketing blurb, haven't they? They've held sampling mornings teas for staff at some local businesses, and you know they have plans to spread. So they sort of announce that they're going to be, you know, moving into other areas as well. And I mean, look, I think this is poorly, but my goodness. Spend, so let's hit the bars. A Wellington bar that said, okay, well, we decide that, you know, we're not going to have people, we're not going to, you know, lay off staff and have our takings go down. We'll reinvent something for every night of the week. So they've got a quiz night, and they've got a singles night, and they've got all sorts of different things. And so, you know, they go to, you know, the Dominion Post and get, you know, a big story like that. So what does it say? So suddenly everyone can read, oh, singles night on, you know, Tuesday and quiz night on a Monday. Okay, I'll get along there. So as I say, you know, not every story is world beaten. What these people have done is they've just looked at, you know, here's another one, shortage of vets, you know, shortages. I saw a dentist in Lower Hutt, I just couldn't believe this. He got a huge page, and his story was about the fact that there weren't enough dentists who had volunteered to be on the government program of treating teenagers for free. No surprise to dentists. But he'd got this full page, Hutt Valley short of dentists. But in that piece of marketing, and it was again, so congratulations to him, it got the fact in that he's got these super new snazzy chairs that you can lay back and you can watch all these videos, and he's got sort of painless needles, and so he just used that as a massive opportunity to promote himself. And I see this all the time. I mean, I saw something, you know, we're talking about news not being that fascinating, about a garden centre that said sales of lettuces are up because we've had a warm August or something like that. I mean, I don't actually consider that newsworthy. The person decided that, you know, and that's an interesting thing, isn't it? We talked about seasons, that there we are, it's, perhaps going into spring, but we've had a, warmer than usual August, so obviously garden centres are going to be affected. So there's always opportunities. The green theme is obviously, really, really important. I loved this story when I first saw it. It wouldn't be at all of interest now, but this person got in really early. I'll just share this with you. Has anyone heard of the VAR code? Anyway, this is a code that goes on a icebreaker garment, and you just simply, you see a number, and you track it back, and you can come, I think, face to face maybe with the sheep that produced your garment. So this is all about storytelling, isn't it? That's what the media want. They want a story. They want to know what your story is, and that's where but you don't have to be icebreaker with their great massive team of marketers and international publicists. Any small business in Greyland can tell a good story as well. As we said, what you do is you just simply, you find a number on the back of your icebreaker jersey, you type that code into the computer and you get taken visually to the farm where your jersey came from. But what a fantastic sort of marketing ploy. But as I said, again, all about stories. What can you do? What story can you tell? Who can help you tell your story? So are there any other questions about this whole thing of responding to stories? Because certainly once you start to do that, then you can be the person that the media go to for commenting. That is a fabulous situation to be in. I see in the travel industry, I see Brent Thomas from the house. He is just all the time, and I think, how many other travel agents are there out there? Do they just not know how to use a telephone? Because, he is go-to person. And once you start to be relied on for giving a great quote and, a little bit of an anecdote or a story, then they'll come straight back to you next time. But they need to know about you first. So basically, that is a very quick romp through the 5 easy stages of getting media publicity. So what I would like to do is, for the next 15 minutes, open it up to you to perhaps ask me some questions or give me some challenges or ask for suggestions from the group about, say, a particular initiative that's happening in your business that you would like to go to the media with, or perhaps suggestions of where you should go. So first of all, questions about what I've said. Yeah.
I've been pretty successful in media, in every media really other than radio, except when radio journalists contacted me about specialty.
Yeah.
But I've also found it difficult in comparison to print or other media to find visibility of journalists within radio. I guess the answer is the directories of other locations. I've found it harder than other media.
Okay, so what is the topic what is your business based on?
Location-based services, some specialist areas, really. If your mobile knows where you are.
Okay, so probably perhaps rather than news, some of the more specialist programs might be of interest. And I'm thinking there's a business show on Radio Live with Andrew Patterson on a Sunday morning at 11 o'clock. So probably for somebody, and I know the national program sometimes has some Radio New Zealand has some business shows. So it may be a matter for you of the hour a week, just listening in, not so much to news, but say going onto the websites of a couple of different radio stations like News Talk ZB, Radio New Zealand, Radio Live, seeing where their shows are, and also if they've got correspondence, if they've got technology correspondence or something like that, contacting them and say, look, hey, this has just grown 50% in the last year, this is huge. And we're going to be rolling out this, or it's going to be that, or whatever. It's an interesting business trend that could be a story for you. My suggestion.
My friend's a producer for Morning Report, and Sunday night they start producing for the next morning. And so she tells me that, unless there's a tsunami or something massive, quite often they're trying to gather everything on Sunday for Monday. So if nothing else is happening and they don't have that many staff in Auckland, it's the day of the week can make a difference as to which day that you contact. So it might not make it on further in the week if nothing else is going on. So if you keep your teenager there. And also that thing about a New Zealander, she's often on Facebook going, does anyone know a New Zealander? They're trying to find somebody with a New Zealand connection, that's,
Absolutely.
It's not so much for us, but
yeah. And you wanted to ask something?
There was just a couple of things. I heard on the radio just recently that they did a survey of who they go to ask people about things, and they've identified 50 people in New Zealand are the spokesman for just about everything the media wants to know. And it's 50 people. And it's what you're saying, it's just kind of interesting. How do you break in to be one of those 50 is quite a challenge, I guess.
Yeah, it's about being a resource person for the media. And what field are you in?
We're in workplace wellness,
Right.
economics, and all the sort of wellness programs for business.
Okay, so I think providing comment on stories that are running at the moment is a good one, but contacting individual journalists and say, you really have to have a USP, don't you? Is it surveys that you've done, or is it a particularly large contract that you've been awarded that is highly coveted, or is it a particular kind of...
Sort of like standing desks have become quite popular, that sort of thing.
That's right.
Do people sit? Should they stand? That sort of thing. There is one guy, he's one of our competitors, but he's the spokesman that the media go to for all that sort of thing.
Right.
And so we sort of got to try and negotiate our way into trying to be the spokesman.
And look, he may seem to have the monopoly on that particular thing. So you need to think, well, what can you do where you could provide some fresh information? And it may be that you actually do some sort of survey along with medical monitoring, in a particular office, so you can go and say, look, over a 3-month period, we had a trial group with these people. So over 3 months, half the office stood and half sat. And we found these indicators are quite changed in the people that stood. Or something new, like it actually motivated people to get more exercise. So if you come in with that view, so we found that the people who were standing actually said that they then took the stairs and that they then parked their car further away, or they're now bringing bicycles. You need something new and fresh that takes that story a little bit further. But surveys are always great for that, because then you've got facts. Any other questions about what we've talked about? Has anybody been thinking while we've been talking that perhaps there is a story and something that they are working on that they hadn't kind of considered a story before? Often I hear people say, now I've got the confidence. It's so often an anecdote that somebody has told you, and that you just thought, all right, okay, that's interesting, but you've never seen that as something that would be of interest to the media, but it often is. Now, is there we'd like to use the last 10 minutes while we're here. Is there any issues that people have got going on in their business that they would like my help with, and just sort of suggesting some media possibilities and some angles?
I do just want to mention something that I did last year, and that was a bit of self-promotion, and I went on Best Song in Britain in the national program. And it's where you select a song that you want to play and tell a story about it. It's a really good opportunity to talk about something new in your business. And I was talked by a friend who did a media release, and they contacted her, but they tried the same thing. They said, would you like to go on the Sunday? It was that quick. And I had about 12 minutes to talk about myself.
That is fantastic. So that's a really good example of what we were talking about before, isn't it? That opportunities don't just come from news, they come from other situations like that as well. Would anybody here like to share any media success they've had and tell us how they actually got that? Any other people? Laurel?
I was my first company, IT Maniacs. We actually bought a cafe. Now we're thinking about buying a cafe on Woodley Road to have a recruitment company. We were approached by a production company doing a New Year's resolution special. And they said, you've got any New Year's resolutions? So we said, we're buying a cafe. So we're actually on a documentary all about following that, which didn't end up getting much publicity. It was the same night as when Peter Jackson won his 11 Oscars for probably the worst night.
Yeah.
But the other one is we just were a couple of young girls with the cafe angle. So we went to the supermarket and we bought 11 coconuts and we put, because I didn't know about the packaging, we were talking about media releases, and we put kind of googly eyes and feathers and stuff and said, you must be nuts, you're ridiculous. But we got a New Zealand Herald in the NBR for that within like the next 2 weeks. Yeah.
Okay, so you provided a front page photo opportunity for them.
Oh, they did. Yeah, they talked. Came in and interviewed us in the cafe. That was an angle.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was great publicity we got from that.
Great. Look, just on that thing of photo opportunities, I spoke with the editor of NZ Business when I was at a function recently, and he said we're twice as likely to publish something if we get a photo. So, look, you might be, what you all need to do is turn into your own photojournalist. I mean, I know I don't need to tell the Facebook generation that, but just get photos of events and anything that might happen in your business that you think could be newsworthy later on, because so often particularly the local newspapers don't have photographers anymore. The journalist takes photos, but obviously if they've missed an event and you've got a photo of it, it's far more likely to be written about. And this person, Glenn Baker, has told me that he is really interested in getting stories from business owners, and there's all sorts of different things they have there, all the different challenges, all the different trends. I really do like this magazine. And look, sometimes people say to me, look, I don't think I'm quite small, quite little what I'm doing. I don't think I'm really qualified for a whole article here. What I want to say to you is a lot of magazines, and Urbis is another magazine like that, have these sections at the front which they call briefs, which is where you might get 2 or 3 paragraphs. As long as you send a photo in, they will use that photo. So it might be, as I said, not every story is sort of earth-shattering and world news, but you might start there. And just another example of how effective that can be as a piece of advertising. I had a client once who made these outdoor, they looked like rocks for landscaping, but they actually had speakers and sound equipment. Sorry? Yeah, they're great, aren't they? And he had a tiny little paragraph in Urbis with a very small photograph, and he just got so much business from that. And just another point I want to reinforce about no media outlet is too unimportant for you to overlook. I had another client who he made sort of clothing apparel for sports teams, jackets, kit bags, and sort of sunglasses and things like that. And he was asked to outfit some race car drivers that were doing drifting out of Pukekohe. So he did a sort of smart looking set of uniforms for them. He was invited to go out there, and he was really thrilled because he met his heroes, which were these American drifters. And I don't even know about it, but apparently, they were the sort of top drifters in the States. So he just sort of very smartly got a couple of photos of him sitting on the bonnets of cars and things like that. And I think it was sponsored by Holden. And he said to me, I think he knew the guy that wrote the little newsletter, the piece of publicity that comes out with your invoice and all of that sort of thing. And he said, look, I've got these photos here, and I met the guys, it was all great, and he said, why don't you, write a couple of paragraphs about it? So he just wrote a couple of paragraphs saying how much he'd enjoyed meeting them, and he was there because he'd made kit bags for the others, and I think it must have been photographed in the outfit. He tells me he got $40,000 worth of business from them in the whole newsletter.
So with community-based stuff, it's quite easy to get the publicity at the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, like the farmers market or whatever, everyone's
Yeah.
all over it. But now it's 3-4 years in, it's harder to think of something on
Yeah.
our side, and they're less interested on their side. So when it's not new, nor news, I find it a lot more challenging.
Yeah, you just have to bring in some sort of new angle.
Like a stunt.
A stunt?
Gimmick,
Yeah, something like that.
Seasonality, I would have thought.
Just, yeah, I mean, but occasionally you get new people starting there, don't you? Or a new concept like that. I think I've already read about this, the concept of people bringing in excess fruit from their gardens and being, swapped and all that sort of thing.
The best one is the uplift project.
Oh, yeah.
Bra.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
That's
It's
great.
going to, in the farmers market, bring bras and going to.
Actually, that's a really
That's a
good
good
one.
one.
That's a
We've
good
had
one.
so many
Yeah.
women have been bringing in their bras.
Yeah.
Right, oh, well,
Yeah.
anything like that.
Oh, yeah.
Anything that screams of front page,
Yeah.
the photo
Photo
of somebody,
opportunity.
delicately holding the
Yeah.
bra. So have you had publicity?
Not on the uplift, you just
Oh.
made me think of it.
Okay.
There's
Yes.
a pink container
It's
on
perfect.
Sunday, and you can go in
Yeah.
and hanging on a bag on
They
my
go to
kitchen
Tonga
wall.
and the Pacific Islands for women that need bras. That
Oh,
want.
but it's been amazing how many women have been really been keen to follow up to give their bras.
Okay, well, look, that's a hero story, I think. And if they don't turn up and, get a photo, get lots of photos, is it a big pink container as well?
And there's a chocolate in the bra.
Yeah. Okay, well,
Good
but
quality ones.
now remember, we did say that
Feeds like a donut.
who is going to be, but you have to decide who's going to be holding them up like that, But,
Spokeswoman.
yeah, spokeswoman, but and also, if there's some sort of, if you can provide a quote, from like a Red Cross organisation or a Pacific Island women's group, even here, that would say, I know that in Tonga and Samoa, they will love this because women don't get to department stores to buy bras that often or something. So there'll be a Pacific Island women's group that you can get there. So again, it just, is a full story that goes into the media.
You do it.
On that same, I'm thinking about constantly news. Almost every time I send Martin a photo, he publishes it.
Yeah.
And I've always got my camera in my handbag, not tonight. But people might know that a lot of things I take, especially at the market, they get published, and I just send them to them with a caption. I tell them what it is, just one sentence, and a high resolution photo, and he's never not published one, and it's given the market a lot of promotion. Plus the community gardens, and that shop round the corner that's got a piano on the pavement.
Oh, that's
It's a tart bakery. I took a photo of my niece sitting at the piano, and I said, would you like a photo of me over magazine? Wasn't doing it for the bakery, and he published it. Well, the bakery got this most fabulous promotion. Because
It's
they're
not
in
a
the
pushover
background.
though, Martin.
No.
Because, we...
Would you say
Oh,
it's not a
no.
pushover?
Because one time I went with all our, stuff, and he said, see this? And he gives this quick photo, just chucks it out, he says, this is all the people who want free publicity. If you want publicity, you've got to do
You've obviously got a
it.
little sort of
He
soft
does
spot
say
there.
stuff. But that's interesting with PR, like
Yeah.
Good Magazine or whatever, they're like, yeah, great, we like your story, but we want an ad.
Yeah.
And
And
Well, that's
it
how
is-
Martin operates.
Yeah,
But I mean,
yeah,
I
that's
think
right.
he doesn't ever get ads out of
Yeah.
me.
so when they say that to you as a PR,
Yeah.
what do you say?
I say it's your call because certain magazines, they might be just right in your area and you may feel that an investment in an ad is really worth it because you just want to target constantly readers. But for if you really don't want to pay, there are other places that you go, say like the community newspapers.
I'll just mention
Yeah.
an anecdote about that. In the IT media, there's a publisher that I won't name who basically said to me, if you want editorial or PR, there's a price to pay.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as free
Free,
media.
yeah.
And then a couple of his journos got sick. And he rings me and he says, hey, there's a couple of blogs that you've written that I really like. Can I use them? And I'll link back to them.
Yeah.
So
you say yes?
if you keep, absolutely I did. But you keep that relationship, and,
Yeah.
and sooner or later they're going to need you.
Yeah. And look, I find, there are certain media that they're well known for, that they want, that they're a business, and they want an ad, but others don't. really been going to be asked to pay, when they've got the story to the Herald or radio.
It becomes advertorial, doesn't it?
I have got
You have, we want the category.
I used to have a tattoo studio, and one day, on one occasion, we had someone come in to get quite a big piece on their shoulder. They got a big, nearly finished dragon on their shoulder, and his wife arrived supposedly with the money to pay, and he said, "Oh my God, she's forgotten or whatever. I'll leave my phone and my keys here, and I'll be back in 10 minutes with the money." Well, he never came back, and it turned out it was a fake phone and just a bunch of keys.
Right.
So,
And a half-finished.
and a half-finished tattoo, but we had an image of the tattoo, and I rang up Sideswipe
Yeah.
and for home Anna, is it Anna?
Yes,
Sideswipe?
yeah.
And she did a really good article on it with a picture of the dragon. So it was quite a really good burst of advertising for the business.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
So,
And
well, apparently he was spotted down the South Island because, of course, within that industry, everybody's a, he's not going to get it finished. Everybody knew what it was. So, but it was, a classic example of something bad, to something really good. It's very cheeky, though, isn't it? Very cheeky.
Well, we've had our hour and I've really enjoyed speaking with you. Now, I also do media coaching for people, so I work particularly with small businesses, and so if any of you want to contact me or get my card, I've got a special offer up until the end of this month. But I'd be happy to sort of sit down with you and look at your business, and there may be something that I can see that I can help you with. And with most people, what I say is that most people after an hour and a half probably end up with 2 or 3 ideas that they can go to the media with it. But it might not be immediately successful, but what it does do is it hones you towards more magpie and wicker type behaviour, picking little snippets up here and there. Check it out with a friend or a colleague. Yes, I think it's a good idea. I'll go there. So we'd love to hear from you, and thank you for coming along.
Thank you.